Hi everyone, it's Kate Taylor from the Nocturnal. So I'm going to be speaking to Jodie Foster, who's starring in the new movie, The Mauritanian. It's directed by Kevin Macdonald, who's also here. So this film is an adaptation of the best-selling memoir by Mohamedou Ould Slahi. So Slahi wrote Guantanamo Diary after being placed in that detention center in Cuba when the US government accused him of participating in 9/11. So Salahi is played by Tahir Rahim in the movie, and his lawyer Nancy Hollander, who's in charge of getting him a fair trial, is played by Jodie Foster.
Hey, Kate.
Hey. Okay, so I want to talk to you about the timing of this film. I
Okay.
knew about it before, but it takes place during a bunch of different presidential administrations, including Obama's, where Biden was vice president.
Yep.
So, what do you hope that this film will accomplish? And do you feel that it's going to speak to Biden? You think Biden, will have some
Right.
attitudes on it?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's it. The movie starts in 2001 and continues to this day. Guantanamo is still there, is still open. And I mean, we would all love if Joe Biden would continue Obama's promise to close down Guantanamo. It doesn't really make any sense. It's such an expensive institution and a symbol of really American injustice.
And so, what was it like, kind of, being a part of this film, and as well as watching this film? This isn't a period piece. This is modern day. Like, you're seeing all the brutality that's happening. You're learning about all these different government agencies.
Yeah, it's really relevant. I mean, really relevant to all the things that are happening right now. The rule of law, our democracy, our constitution. The foundation are these laws that we're supposed to follow. And in the case of 9/11, when America was filled with fear and terror, the first thing they did was they threw out the rule of law and they threw out our democracy in order to seek revenge. And that's how Mohamedou got caught up in this. That's how an innocent man was abducted from his country and spirited off to a foreign country and tortured against the Geneva Convention. And they tried to break him and they weren't able to.
And then, how did you get into the element of being Nancy? Did you meet the real Nancy? Did you kind of get to
Yeah.
read her old case briefings?
Yeah, I got to meet the real Nancy. I got to spend some time with her and, check out her house and see all her little tchotchkes and things and talk about her habits, and then also talk a little bit about her history and the law and her family. I've only played a real character once before, and that person had been dead for a couple hundred years. So, I wanted to be able to have the freedom to create a character, and Nancy gave me that freedom. I said, "Look, my Nancy is going to be a lot meaner than your Nancy. I hope that's okay." She was like, "That's fine, as long as we tell Mohamedou's story, it's okay."
And were you able to read the book at all?
Was able to what?
Read the book.
Oh yeah, I read the book of Guantanamo Diaries and Diary, and it's just so hard to believe that not just the stories in the book, but also how well written it is. Hamid is a fantastic writer, and the incredible thing is he did not speak English when he got there. He learned English from the guards, so he sounds kind of like a 19-year-old, right? He says a lot of like, man and like all that stuff. He also learned English by watching movies over and over again. He was able to see, for example, The Big Lebowski like 80 times. So sometimes he does talk a little bit like the dude.
And so, what was it like working with Shailene?
I love Shailene Woodley. I mean, that we got really close on the film, and she's somebody that I feel like I'll always have in my life. We just got really lucky that we were able to be in that space with Tahar Rahim, the lead actor in the film, to really watch him give that performance. It just felt like an honor to be able to hold space for him.
So now we have director Kevin Macdonald, and you know his work from his documentary on Whitney Houston, his documentary on Mick Jagger and Bob Marley, and now he's tackling the story of Mohamedou Ould Slahi. Hi. So
Hey.
I want to talk a little bit more about your approach when it comes to biopics. So when you first get a story, what is your first thing that you do?
Well, with this case, I read the book. It was sent to me by Benedict Cumberbatch's company. He's one of the producers on the movie. And I read it and thought it was a compelling testament of what had happened to somebody in Guantanamo. And I thought, actually, I don't think there's a movie here. And then the producers said to me, just talk to Mohamedou. And that's what I did. And that's what made me want to do it, because he is not what you expect. He's a man who's been falsely imprisoned for 14 years, who's been tortured, who, you know, has been mistreated in all sorts of terrible ways. And yet, when you talk to him, he's funny, he's warm, he's very forgiving of what happened. And he also loves American culture. You know, he loves American music. He was singing the Black Eyed Peas to me on my first Skype call to him. Boom, boom, pow. That was that, you know, he was telling me the soundtrack, the guards used to, the songs they used to listen to. And that's the thing, that was one of the songs they all listened to. And he loves movies. And so, you know, I thought, what an incredible character, in which is an entry point into talking about this important historical period. So that, yeah, that's the entry point.
And so how do you kind of approach balancing cinematography with brutality in this movie? Because you don't shy away from showing what really happened at Guantanamo Bay, particularly the special projects kind of section of the movie.
Yeah, so, you know, he was terribly, terribly mistreated. And I wanted to show that, because without that, you know, what is the movie? And we did a lot of research, both through American government documents and also talking to Mohamedou and his lawyers about what really happened. And we tried to depict it as accurately as possible. And basically everything you see in the movie really happened to him. But we didn't want to make it in such a way that you literally couldn't watch it, because obviously, you know, why should people sit through, you know, really, really incredibly violent material? It's hard. So we decided that, you know, we would go inside his head and show actually very little real violence. You know, you think you see a lot, but you don't. What you're really doing is, you know, trying to get inside his head and to show what it's like to be tortured, what it does to your mind, how it warps your perception. He thinks his mother has arrived in his cell. He flashes back to memories from earlier in his life that you've seen earlier in the film. He has this surreal dream of being back in his apartment in Germany, where they're accusing him that that's where he met one of the 9/11 plotters, and he's been denying it, and then he's back and he's in that world. And so it's more of a kind of psychological torture than an actual physical torture. And it also, from a filmmaking point of view, it's an opportunity in a film that's otherwise a lot of talk. You know, it's a legal drama, lots of people talking to each other, intelligent chat. And here's a section which is purely cinematic, which is purely about the sand and the images, and where you go into a kind of different mental state, I think.
And where was the shot? Like, where is the Guantanamo Bay that you used?
Well, obviously, it's not shot in Guantanamo Bay. It's largely shot in South Africa, in Cape Town and the surrounds of Cape Town, where you have beautiful beaches with landscape that's very actually similar to in Cuba, where Guantanamo is. And you also have a city there in you know, downtown Cape Town is like an American city with glass skyscrapers and whatever, it feels American. And then we went to Mauritania, where he's from, and we shot there for a week, which was an incredible adventure. I mean, that's a beautiful, beautiful country. It's one of the biggest countries in Africa, but people barely heard of it because it's got a tiny population, 3 million people. They were mostly nomadic until very recently. And they wear these incredible colored robes and headscarves. And listen to amazing music. It's kind of this desert blues kind of thing that they listen to when there's a big wedding scene at the beginning. It's a totally beautiful, amazing culture.
Yeah, and I think that's all the time I have, and it was a pleasure talking to you.
Nice to talk to you. Bye-bye.